Welcome to another episode of Chess Sports Talk, and welcome to 2023 Week 5 of the college football season. This is my preview and prediction video of some games I find interesting this upcoming weekend. And we'll kind of give you a little bit of my insight. You can take it or leave it. That is up to you. But I provide it to you free of charge. I just acquired a little bit of your time. And looking at my season thus far, my worst week was week 1 at 8-4. Last week I went 9-3, so I'm doing extremely well so far this college football season. But now we're starting to dive into those head-to-head matchups and conference play. A lot of rivalry games are coming up. That's going to make a huge impact as well. A lot of meaning behind them, and we'll see what kind of things go out, because already we've had some phenomenal games thus far, some surprises, instant classics. Last week's Ohio State-Notre Dame game, an instant classic, regardless of your fan base between either Ohio State or Notre Dame. I still call it instant classic, even though I'm an Irish fan and they lost. It's because they decided to go 10-man on defense on the final play of the Ohio State drive. Bold move, did not work out. But what games do I have in store for you this week? I'm actually going to start with a Friday night matchup. That's right, I don't normally do Friday nights or Thursday night games, but this one I had to include. It is a top 20 matchup in the Pac-12. So the Pac-12 still has quite a few good teams, even though this league is not going to be around much longer. We'll go up to Corvallis, Oregon, as the Beavers host the 10th ranked undefeated Utah. This should be a dandy of a game. Now, last week I predicted Utah's demise against UCLA, and their defense rose to the top. And that was the difference in that game. Oregon State's defense pretty much non-existent. You look at last week against Washington State, but their defense didn't shut down Washington State. At the end of the game, they start to come back. Oregon State's offense is something that's going to be hard to contain. I don't think Utah is going to have the ability to contain this behemoth that is the offense. They might start off early, confuse them a little bit, probably get Ugalele to throw an interception or two. You know, he already has 3 in the season, so get one, probably not a stretch of the imagination. But he has over 800 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. Martinez, a focal point for this rushing attack, easily gets 100 yards a game. If he continues that bruising attack, if he can do more in scoring, I think that will really help out the Beavers' offense. Right now, Oregon State's favored by 4.5. I think I've seen this line go up. I think first time I checked, it was like 3.5. So I like where this is going, but I do think it's going to be a lot closer, just because of Utah's defense will try to corral the Beavers as best they possibly can. However, the Beavers will break the Utah dam and break through, but I think Oregon State will edge out Utah. I think it will be closer than 4.5. Don't quote me on that one, but I will also take Oregon State in this showdown. Then we head to Boulder, and how quickly the Buffaloes have fallen out of favor with the AP. They're already out of the polls already after their blowout loss in Eugene. Now they're bringing in the undefeated 8th-ranked USC Trojans. I foresee about the same results as they did against Oregon. USC is a very potent team, very quality on both sides of the ball, especially the offense with Caleb Williams in charge of that one. Shadir Sanders, Shabar have some good numbers as well. Maybe probably a little bit better than they did against Oregon. But yeah, I think it's going to be another one-sided affair. Right now, USC's favored by 21.5. I don't think it's going to be the case, but I said that last week in Oregon. So, but Colorado's defense is definitely non-existent. I think the offense might do a little bit better this week than they did last week. USC's still going to win. It's still going to be a double-digit victory, and all Trojan, baby. Then we head out to Lexington, Kentucky, where the undefeated, unranked Wildcats play host to the 22nd ranked Florida Gators. How is Florida ranked over Kentucky? Make this make sense. It's early in the season, so I don't see why. Okay, a game against Tennessee, I'll grant you that one. So, probably just answer my own damn question. But anyways, this should be a good matchup. Florida has shown abilities to be competitive. They were competitive against Utah. They just fell short in that arena. They were also very competitive against Tennessee, knocking them off in the swamp. And ensure they defended their home territory, which is what you would expect them to do. I think Kentucky's looking for that marquee win this season, and this could possibly play it because they're not getting a lot of love anywhere else. And for me, there's just a lot of things that Kentucky has that Florida doesn't. I think Leary is going to be the focal point, but he does make some silly mistakes. He does have 5 touchdowns this season. Florida's defense is opportunistic enough to take advantage of that. Can Kentucky stop the Gators' running attack? That's another key factor in this one. I will take Kentucky in this one. They are favored by 1. But I have a feeling this is going to be a lot closer to what some people really want. And I wouldn't be surprised if Florida goes up there and wins anyways. Fill themselves up with some Wildcat. But I have a feeling Kentucky might be able to edge this one out. Next, we head up to the Dome in Syracuse with undefeated Orange and unranked take on the 2-2 Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson does have a lot of problems with Syracuse, especially going up there to Syracuse. So this should be no different. Clemson's trying to rebound after their embarrassment to Florida State at home, even though they lost overtime, but they coughed up that lead. Syracuse has been hiding, doing themselves pretty good. Doesn't really take anyone tough, I would probably say. Army probably was their greatest adversary last week, and they handled them quite well. But right now, Clemson's favored by 6.5. I think a lot of people, especially odds makers, kind of forget how well Syracuse plays. Yes, I'm trying to adjust this. A lot of people forget how well Syracuse plays against Clemson. And I think it's going to be no different here. I think Syracuse are playing tough. They'll disrupt. Klubnik is decent enough of a quarterback. Shipley should be the focal point, but if Syracuse can do what Florida State did, minimize the damage, minimize their composure, and use that energy to move forward, I think that could probably happen. I think I will go with Syracuse to win at home. I don't think it'll be an upset, even though oddsmaker has Clemson as a favorite, but I like the Orange in this one. Then we head down to the Deep South, and the Deep South oldest rivalry. That's right, the Georgia Bulldogs head to Auburn and take on the Tigers. This should be another classic game between these two. Auburn really had no answers against A&M last week. I didn't think they would. They probably don't have any answers for Georgia either. They probably will keep it close for a while, but Georgia should be able to eke it out towards the end. Georgia seems to be doing a lot of slow starts this season. I have a feeling that they will be able to find ways to click, and then once they do, that's it. Game's over. Beck right now for the Bulldogs, over 1,000 yards, almost 1,200 yards passing even, with 6 touchdowns in his 4 games. Edwards, only 184 yards on the ground, but he does have 3 rushing touchdowns. And Bowers, a tight end, has been a big focal point of the Georgia passing attack. Right now, Georgia's favored about 14.5. I'll stem that down a little bit. I kind of go 13.5. But I will also take Georgia to win this matchup in Auburn. In a huge showdown in Austin as the number 3 Texas Longhorns, undefeated, will take on the 24th ranked undefeated Kansas Jayhawks. This should be a early showdown to see who's going to be the number 1 team in the Big 12. Right now, Texas looks like they're back. If you're a Texas fan, you got to be happy with how it's going. Ewers is just oozing with confidence, keeping Manning at bay for the present point in time. 1,000 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 0 picks. No, look what they did against Alabama. Just totally took Alabama out of their game plan. They think a lot of teams out of the game plan. Kansas is just one of these pesky teams that just won't go away. But I have a feeling they will struggle to contain Ewers. But I think they will find ways to corral the Longhorns a little bit. So there won't be a huge stampede. They'll probably do the same thing against BYU, do a lot of rushing to disrupt the quarterback. Ewers is a big guy. It's hard to bring down. He is mobile. Right now the line is 16.5 in favor of Texas. Let's bring that down a bit. I'll probably go more, once again, like a 13.5 line because I think Kansas should make this interesting for a while. And they might actually make a comeback towards the end and really screw up the lines. But I still give it to the Longhorns. I think the Longhorns is a far better team right now. So I'll give it to them to ensure that they maintain their momentum in Big 12. All right, now we head over to Oxford, Mississippi with another top 25 matchup in the SEC. We found the 13th ranked LSU Tigers taking on the 20th ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Both schools are 3-1. LSU has been on the roll since their week 1 loss to Florida State. Ole Miss could not take advantage of Alabama's misfortunes and fell extremely short in Tuscaloosa. They're going to have problems with LSU. Right now, Daniels has been a huge factor in the Tigers' supremacy right now. It looks like they're going to be in the West. It all depends how they handle Alabama this year. I doubt Kelly will get 2 in a row against Alabama, but that's a future game. So we're concentrate on right now. Right meow. And with Daniels and Diggs, that's a double running back. A third you got to worry about. Daniels can also pass it, almost 1,300 yards passing with 12 touchdowns. So he's been a phenomenal quarterback for the Bayou Bengals. I don't think it'll be much of an issue right now. Right now the line's 2.5. I think it's going to be a lot bigger than that one. Ole Miss defense just fell apart against the Crimson Tide, and LSU is a lot better than Clemson, or a lot better than Alabama right now. But I will take the Tigers winning by more than 3. Head down there to Durham, North Carolina, as the 17th ranked undefeated Duke Blue Devils. That's right. Undefeated Duke Blue Devils play host to the 11th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Hartman is no stranger to Durham or Duke, and the Dukies should be a handful for the Irish. There's a reason why they're 17th ranked. The reason why that football has now become a huge craze at Duke University. That's mainly known as the home to Cameron Crazies in their basketball program. But the football program has definitely turned some heads recently. But I think Notre Dame's just too talented on that offense to really try to corral. Hartman could find ways to exploit it. Over 1,200 yards passing, 14 touchdowns. Estime, almost 600 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns. So definitely a dual threat. As long as the Notre Dame defense can find ways to corral Duke's offense and make sure Calhoun is not a huge factor in their passing attack. I think they'll find ways to do that. Right now, Notre Dame's favored by 5.5. I agree with that. I think this game will be close, but I think Notre Dame's going to find a way to end up winning it, probably about 6 or 7. But I am going with the Irish. We head up to Rocky Top, where the 21st ranked Tennessee Volunteers, looking to rebound after their stumble in the swamp, will take on Rattler and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Now, South Carolina has been an interesting team to kind of talk about because Rattler has shown at times that where he performs at a very high level, then he turns around and has games where you're like, well, who's this guy and why is he playing quarterback? And they seem to work well around the confines of him and his inconsistencies and developed a really good football program and really good offense with him. Leggett at over 550 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. So one of the main factors of Rattlers' passing attack. But Wright's going to be the huge factor in the rushing attack. The quarterback play as well is going to be another huge factor. Like I said, Tennessee's looking to rebound after not winning in Florida. South Carolina's next on the menu. The Volunteers will have chicken tonight. I think it's going to be a bad day for South Carolina. Right now, Tennessee's favored by 12. I'm fine with that one. I really think Tennessee is going to take South Carolina out to the woodshed, and you don't know one of those going to happen beyond that. Very unique matchup in the Big 12 that's may not be getting a lot of attention. It's between pair of 3-1 schools right now. West Virginia heads out into Texas into Fort Worth to take on TCU. Both teams are ranked right now, which I think is fine. But both have quality and mass. Some pretty good teams. I mean, TCU had that first week stumble against Colorado. And, well, no one saw that Colorado machine coming. No one saw it coming. But TCU has rebounded nicely since then. So I have a feeling they'll be able to find ways to continue that momentum. West Virginia has quality, mass, a few good wins thus far. I mean, they won the backyard brawl with Pitt. They beat Texas Tech. So they're not, an easy team to push over like they were last year. But I think it all relies on Morris and Bailey for the Horned Frogs. If those two can't have a successful day, passing and running respectively, it'll make West Virginia a little bit, struggle to try to catch up. Now, I'm not saying they can't do that. I think West Virginia will probably keep this game closer to what right now the line states. But I think towards the end, TCU should be able to pull away in the fourth quarter. Right now, it's in favor of TCU 14. I say it's going to be definitely closer in that one. I'm going probably more to 10-point range. But we'll give it to the Horned Frogs. We're going to 4-1 on the season. All right, we're going to head out to Tucson, Arizona. It's the 3-1 Wildcats will play host to 7th-ranked, undefeated Washington Huskies. And this should be a fun shootout between Penix Jr. and De Luna. However, it's the defenses that played a huge factor, and I think Arizona's defense will have no answers for Washington's attack. The Huskies should have some fun adventures down there in the desert. And they proved that the Husky is greater than a Wildcat. Right now, Washington's favored by 19. I want to stem back those expectations a bit. I think it will be a double-digit, 3-point, 3-scoring lead. I think it's going to be more like 17, but I am taking Washington to win in Arizona. In the last game on the docket, Alabama will head over to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Right now, Mississippi State is struggling. Rogers, just a very flat-footed quarterback. Short of 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he only has 1 INT. So I think Mississippi State should find ways to make things interesting. Marks over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns for rushing attack-wise. So they'll definitely attack that Alabama defense, make Alabama sweat. I think their defense is enough to make Alabama's offense sweat. Right now, Alabama's favored by 14.5. I do feel like this game is going to be a lot closer than this one. I am almost tempted to go with upset just because I think Mississippi State's due for one. And I think Alabama is going to probably find themselves losing another game here shortly. But I don't know if Alabama's back yet, so I'm not in favor of this 14.5 lead. I will take Mississippi State for the points. But I'm going to go Alabama for the win. I think Alabama's going to find ways to just squeak this one out and escape any type of upset bid from the Bulldogs. But I think Alabama should be on upset alert. Well, there you go. There's about 12 games. Let's see if I can try to duplicate what I've done the past 2 weeks and win the 9 games. I think I'm happy with if that is the results. Which game do you think I completely got wrong? Which game are you looking forward to watch this weekend? Like I said, college football has a lot of marquee games out there to make things interesting, so we'll see how things play out. So just let me know down below what you think, which games you're looking forward to. Who's your pick right now for the playoffs? Have they started now? Oh, what about your 12-team format? Remember, that's coming soon as well. Hey, once you're down there, make sure you hit that thumbs up, especially that content provider. It really helps please the YouTube guys, pleases the YouTube algorithms, and it really helps promote this video out. You also subscribe. 90% of you, over 90% of you are not even subscribed. Doesn't cost you anything. You're already watching my video anyway. Why don't you subscribe? You just hit that subscribe button, click the bell icon, turn notifications, let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.